finally, I wanted to go over some of the current FGC Discord on social media and off social media because it's been difficult. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but it's been difficult looking at social media when it comes to the FGC. It just literally seems like a bunch of like petulant children arguing over nothing. And I don't mean that as in the people arguing are children, the arguments are over nothing. No, I'm just saying like from the general look from the outside looking in, it looks rough. There are some important discourses happening, of course. I think the big one was once Big E announced that he was looking to retire after Summer Jam, and then promptly announced NEC how a lot of the big regionals are ending, right? Like we no longer have any regionals in the West Coast as far as SoCal regionals or NorCal regionals go. Asterisk. Kumite in Tennessee is gone. Final round is gone. And now it looks like all the Big E events, which are Winter Brawl, NEC, and Summer Jam, are up on the chopping block. So it's been difficult for TOs, and also so it's been the return to offline versus online again, right? The online is great. There's a lot of online tournaments, so it's people are staying more at home than going out. But I think I think that's just like a beginning thing, right? We're still at the end. Oh, Big E. No, I'm talking about Big E, Eric Smalls. He is a TO for the Philly scene, and I have the utmost respect for him, right? I think you guys have heard me many times say that like Winter Brawl in 2014 was my first tournament. NEC immediately after that was my second tournament in 2014. So I have there's a very special place in my FGC upbringing that is all because of Big E and the Big E tournaments. So it's sad to see it go. However, Big E did announce that he had like 3 strokes. I don't know if the 3 was a typo, right? But he did announce that he had a stroke. So that stuff is super difficult to deal with. So I have nothing but the best wishes and speedy recovery for him. But I think the fact that he was up and walking around at NEC is a big deal. So shout outs to Big E Gaming and everybody that works there. Shout outs to everybody that ran Summer Jam this past weekend. It was a lot of fun to watch. This whole discourse is kind of taken off because of that, right? So it's like the online versus offline. Like people don't go to tournaments anymore. And what's really funny is I love seeing takes from like some of the people who have been in the FGC for a long time, because I forget if it was James Chen or if it was Ultra David. One of the Ultra Chens said that it seemed like it was just a discourse around when fighting games went to consoles, right? Where it was the same thing. It's like, oh, you can just stay at home and play instead of going to the arcade. Arcades are dying, blah, 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 blah. So that's been like a weird like argument that's just gone around in circles. The other arguments that have gone around in circles are like which character is the best. I don't know, man. It just seems like everybody's complaining a lot about characters, and it's interesting because I feel like it has never been this bad, but maybe it always has been, and I just haven't been in tune with it. Yeah, there's just a lot of people complaining about either Ken or JP, and then somebody complains about another character, and then they go, oh, what about Ken and JP? It's getting crazy. And then something else I saw was somebody posted like the different tiers of the MR scores, right? Like, so I think it was like 1,500 or like 1,400 to 1,500 is a beginner. The next tier is like getting better or like good. Next tier is like, what are you, an animal? And the next tier is like tournament winners. I thought it was a joke when I saw it, but everybody has been taking it as like a serious post. So I don't know if it's just one of those cases where people have just been taking it seriously when it hasn't been meant to be serious, or if it was meant to be serious, it's hilarious. It actually makes it even more hilarious, right? So I don't know, man. It just seems like everybody's up in arms. I hope things get back to being funny, right? Like, I understand we're all at home and everybody's, itching to, like, have human interaction, but, I just want to go back to things being funny instead of everybody getting all up in arms over a joke, or what I perceive to be as a joke, right? Yeah. Yeah. It just seems like everybody's so hostile over there. One thing I do have to say, another discourse that did take place a while ago is when somebody was mentioning that pro players only play with other pro players and are only friends with other pro players, and they won't play anyone else. Right? We've already had that discussion before, mind you. But what was really funny was last week, I was just playing the game. I got matched up with Shine, right? Which was already a mistake in the first place, right? My MR is like sticking around 1500. His is like 1800 something, right? He was playing Jury. So I went on his stream. I was like, yo, dude, when you have time and patience, let me know when we can run a set. I want to figure some stuff out. And he literally played me for like an hour, right? Like, we ran a long set. He was super cool about it. And it was super fun. And I learned a shit ton. So I think there in and of itself is already like a good indication of that whole argument being untrue. Granted, different people, different reactions, etc., etc., etc. Who knows? I just thought it was interesting that, like, I think that argument came out of somebody who was either too afraid to ask or just wanted to start shit. Because something I've learned since starting, and it's been like a thing, right? And I think I have to give this up to my journey of the FGC for finding the results of this so clearly, is at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? Like, that's it. Like, I remember, what was it? I started working at Cross Counter because I saw Gutex on Twitter, and I was like, hey, need an editor? And he goes, yep. And then I started working at Cross Counter. I started working here because after running camera for the Best of 3, I talked to Efren, and I was like, hey, you got a job for me? And he goes, nope. And then later he was like, come on down, when they started Best of 5. Now this thing with like the interview with S-Fan, right? I literally just went up to S-Fan and I was like, hey, I'm interested in interviewing you. You can go on his stream and see the moment that I asked him. It's very funny. I literally just went up to him. I was like, hey, I run a fighting game talk show. I'd love to talk to you about your Evo experience. What's the best way to get a hold of you if you're interested? He just goes Twitter. And then we're doing the thing. Same thing with Zed Tabani. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. I mentioned this in our Discord, but I didn't mention it in outside. Zed, unfortunately, is dealing with some family stuff, so he had to call off today. But we are working with him to get him scheduled on. So shout-outs to Zed and his family for dealing with hard times. I hope things get better. Shit's difficult out here. But yeah, asking doesn't hurt. And if somebody says no, that's it, right? It's not like anything personal or anything. They just either don't want to do it or they can't do it. I think like this fear of us being rejected, and granted, like I have a fear of being rejected too, right? Like asking shit is uncomfortable sometimes. So, we just kind of got to do it, man. That's how we change shit. Speaking of uncomfortable, being uncomfortable asking for stuff, I want to remind you guys, it's September, which means you can subscribe on Twitch for 25% off. It's $3.75 instead of the regular $5. So if you either have your Prime or you want to throw some money our way so that we can keep doing this show and doing bigger and better things with it, I'd love the support. Thanks. Also, something else I forgot to mention, I have added up, we now have reached the 21st century as far as our in-chat experience goes. If you guys have any questions about what our socials are, how to get into our Discord or whatever, you can type !Discord, you can type !Socials, and you can type !YouTube, and it'll give you links to all of those. So you guys enjoy. Mean Scene, what are you doing? Everybody, give a round of applause to Mean Scene. Let's see some BOV gasms for Mean Scene for gifting 5 subs. Shoutouts to Mean Scene. Yeah, Pathos. Now, Pathos. Wait, who was all there? Hold on. We gotta welcome everybody. Pretender 80, Pathos, Money Green, Squidly, and Axax. Congratulations. Be sure to thank that Mean Scene for getting you guys that sub. Shoutouts to Mean Scene, man. Thanks. See, it doesn't hurt to ask. One other way that you guys can. Okay, hi. CEO Lord Jabali, hello. Thank you for the raid. For those of you coming from Jabali's chat, I hope you guys had a good stream. Welcome. We're Best of 5. This is a weekly FGC talk show where we just finished going over all of these topics. However, if anybody wants me to rehash anything, I guess, since you guys just got here, let me know. We'll rehash it. We were just talking about how it's September, so if you forgot to subscribe to Jabali with your Amazon Primes or your discounted subs, feel free to drop them here because you're probably going to forget, and you don't want that money to go to waste. One other thing, what I was about to mention before Jabali came in here, is one way to also support the show, if you guys are up for it, that doesn't cost you any money, is to make clips. Make clips of the stream. If you guys find something funny or interesting or whatever, just feel free to make a clip. Usually that'll help us out a lot. And that's a free way to support the show. And you get like a fun clip out of it, you know? I hate the hash, especially rehash. Sorry, Die by Sword. It happens. It happens to all of us. Also, shoutouts to Jabali for being Jabali. I see him working hard towards CEO Taku coming up. So nothing but best wishes. I hope all goes well. Die by Sword has redeemed. Press the button. Hold. Oh shit. There's nothing in my button playlist. All right, hold on. Okay, here I just connected all of this. I hope this works because I just plugged it in. So, Die by Sword, thank you for redeeming the button. Here it is. I hope this works. It turned off. It did not work. All right. Well, anyway, here it is. I'll do one. Oh, I pressed it.
At one point in time, largely considered, he was second place last year to Luffy in Evolution. And at that point in time, he was one of those players that was considered maybe the greatest player on the planet.
Yeah, it really seemed like that.
And since then, his success has been a little bit lessened, but he is still a threat, still a very, very strong player. But his opponent is... who's his opponent? Who's his opponent? We hear the music, but where is his opponent? He's already on stage, Dominion! Mr. Kevin Landon of New York City.
Nobody saw him. He just crept in there.
Of course it was a CEO clip, right? I literally picked it out of random, so it was meant to be. Shoutouts to CEO. Shoutouts to Base Monster for having those clips. Yeah. I think with that said, that's going to bring this episode to a close.